It's a beautiful day in my oil field, a beautiful day in my oil field. Oh, won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Welcome, Hebrews and Shebrews. Thank you for tuning in and coming joining us at the Oil Field Disciple channel, where we're going to read the scriptures. A little different intro this morning. I'm going to go ahead and point you here. Hold the camera like that. The one long tree within probably 100 miles around here. But there she is. I found a tree finally out here in the middle of nowhere. Welcome this morning. As I was thinking about that this morning after I made my other video, my other video this morning about me being, I'm done with this COVID stuff. As I turned it off, I looked around and said, it's a beautiful day in the oil field. And that song from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood popped up in my head. And I thought, how do we get from that to where we're at today within 40 years? What is going on? You know, back in the day with Mr. Rogers, I don't know if some of y'all may not remember Mr. Rogers or know who Mr. Rogers is. But Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had the little sock puppets and the little train and, you know, and all the little characters that come in dressed up different things. But they always had a moral lesson for the children that were watching it. And it was cool. And Mr. Rogers himself, as a person, he did a whole lot for TV and programs like that. But that's what's got us here where we're at today, because those programs got twisted somewhere along the way. We went from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to Beavis and Butthead and Cat Dog and Phineas and Ferb and all those that, you know, there's a whole, it's pretty twisted and demented. Real twisted and demented cartoons, if you look at it and go, oh, that's a sexual innuendo. Well, you're dirty-minded, Oilfield Disciple. Well, look at your TV. Watch your TV and tell me if it is not sex-oriented, sex-based, and sex-cultured on every program. Well, 90% of the programs and commercials, especially the commercials. That's why me and my wife quit watching TV about 3 or 4 years ago. It just got to where it was just, that's all it's talking about. Sex, 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 sex. And what's happened? Here we are. You know, as I said this morning in my other video, Romans 1:28, those who will not come to the knowledge of truth and be obedient in faith to the Most High. Now, that's not the scripture quoted, all right? You can go look at Romans 1:28, and it gives a list of fornications and homosexuality and just a whole bunch of different labels on people that are wicked. And it says that he will turn them over to a reprobate mind. A reprobate mind is when I show you a picture of something or I show you a picture of an elephant and I say, here's an elephant, and you look at it and you go, that's not an elephant, that's a cloud, or that's a tree, or you just cannot see an elephant there. In reality, there's an elephant there, but your mind is so tweaked and twisted now, you can't see that elephant no more. So you can't see truth. And that's a reprobate mind. And man, I see it. That's where we're at here today. So that's the importance of reading our scriptures every day. That's the importance of getting the word in us and allowing it to do a surgery and a work. And some of the things that I say from this platform, it may aggravate you. It may piss you off. And you want to turn me off, that's fine. I have a pastor that 6 years ago when I first started listening to him, I turned him off about 10, 15 minutes into his sermon. Every time I tried to listen to it, but God kept leading me back to him. And every time he would say something that would aggravate me and make me mad, using the scriptures, he'd say something about the Bible and what's wrong today in church. It would anger me, and so I'd go look it up so I could send him an email and see you're wrong. Every time I do that, I was like, man, he's right. I've got to start changing. That's when I began starting to getting the outlook from the spiritual mindset and the truth and what this word actually says. and that's why I'm doing this channel. That's why I'm a pastor now. And I come down pretty hard on modern cultural Christianity. If you followed me much at all, you know that. Because they're lying to their people. And the people do not have the fortitude to go and look up this stuff for themselves. I'm doing some word studies right now on Matthew chapter 9. And I'm going to do another video on that here, maybe today, maybe tomorrow on Sabbath. And show y'all that if you don't do these word studies, it's not going to mean what you think it means. So, let's get to reading. I just wanted to interject that real quick this morning because, you know, I have a hard time with God bless America. I love America. Don't get me wrong. I think it's still, right now, the greatest country on earth. We're blessed to be here. We're blessed to live here, regardless of the shenanigans that's going on around us. We're very blessed to be here in this time. And in this time, this actual timeline of history. But, man, if we do not get some truth in us, we're going to fall. And so, when I hear people say, God bless America, how can God bless a nation? How can God bless a nation that kills 2,300 babies a day? That's 2,300 babies a day die in the womb of a mother. Here in this country alone. We sell sex to children. We're teaching children in the kindergarten age, that's like 3 and 4-year-olds, we're teaching them how to have anal sex. We're teaching them how to give blowjobs. God bless America? I think not. Y'all, this is a twisted world. So I have a hard time with God bless America or pray for the nation. What I want to do is I want to pray for us as the individual, that you the father or you the mother, if you're a single mother, or your husband doesn't want to get down with reading the scriptures, pray for him, women. Wives, pray for your husbands. Pray for your husbands to come to the knowledge. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And pray for your family and start leading your family in a biblical direction. To hell with the newspapers, to hell with Facebook and all the rest. Husbands, you got to lead, and some of the wives are going to have to learn to submit, but they're not going to do it until you learn to be a loving leader, a loving general of your household. And I'm going to pray for that for y'all today, because there's so many homes falling apart that dad just doesn't want to rock the boat, and so he just allows things to go on. And these children are growing up never being told no, and now we see what happens when a child grows up and never gets told no. They burn down cities. They put black masks on and they run around and they burn down cities. That's children that was never told no. That's children that got a trophy, whether they sat on the bench and couldn't catch a ball, couldn't even pick up the ball and throw it, but they got a trophy anyway. Everybody gets a trophy, so no kid gets his feelings hurt. That's what happens when that generation grows up. Chaos. This got long on me, but I had to get that out there. This is going to be a longer video today. I don't care. If 30 minutes is too long for you to hear the word of Yahweh, bet you spend 30 minutes on Facebook. Probably some more than that. Let's get to reading. Also, Brother John Ishii went into surgery this morning for his jaw. Keep him lifted up. I know that's going to be a painful surgery. I had my jaw broke once, right in the middle where my chin's at, and it shattered it on my left side. I was at a party when I was 19. The guy busted me with a 2x4. That was fun. But anyway, John Ishii, we got you lifted up in prayer, brother. 1 Samuel chapter 13. Saul was ... years old when he began to reign. And when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose for himself 3,000 men of Israel. And 2,000 were with Samuel in Michmash and in the mountains of Beth El. And 1,000 with Jonathan at Gibeon of Benjamin, and the rest of the people he sent away each to his tent. And Jonathan struck the watchpost of the Philistines that was in Geba. And the Philistines heard of it, and Saul blew the shofar throughout all the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear." And all the Israel heard the news that Saul had stricken the watchpost of the Philistines, and also that Israel had become a stench to the Philistines. And the people were summoned to Saul at Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered to fight Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as numerous as the sand on the seashore. And they came up and encamped at Michmash, east of Beth Awen. And the men of Israel saw that they were in trouble, for the people were distressed, and the people hid in caves, in thorny bushes, and in rocks, and in holes, and in pits. And some Hebrews passed over the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. But Saul was still in Gilgal, and all the people followed him, trembling. And he waited 7 days according to the appointment with Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. And Saul said, "Bring an ascending offering and a peace offering here to me." And he offered a ascending offering, and it came to be, as he had finished offering the ascending offering, look, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, to bless him. Then Samuel said, "What have you done?" And Saul said, "Because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered at Michmash. So I said, the Philistines are going to come down on me at Gilgal, and I have not appeased the face of Yahweh. So I felt compelled and offered an ascending offering." Y'all pay close attention to this and think about this in your own lives. And Samuel said to Saul, "You have been foolish. You have not guarded the command of Yahweh your Elohim, which he commanded you. For now Yahweh would have established your reign over Israel forever. But now your reign is not going to stand. Yahweh shall seek for himself a man after his own heart, and Yahweh shall command him to be the leader over his people, because you have not guarded what Yahweh commanded you." Verse 15, and Samuel rose and went up from Gilgal to Gibeah to Benjamin, and Saul mustered the people who were present with him, about 600 men. And Saul and Jonathan, his son, and the people who were present with them remained in Gibeah of Benjamin, while the Philistines encamped at Michmash. And from the camp of the Philistines, raiders went out in 3 companies, and the one company turned to the way that leads to Ophrah, to the land of Saul. And another company turned toward the way of Beth Horon, and another company turned toward the way of the border that overlooks the valley of Sebeon, toward the wilderness. Now no blacksmith could be found in the land, all the land of Israel. For the Philistines said, "Lest the Hebrews make swords or spears." And all Israel went down to the Philistines, each one to sharpen his plowshare, and his mattock, and his axe, and his sickle. And the charge was a pim for the plowshares, and the mattocks, and the forks, and the axes, and to set the points of the goads. And it came to be on the day of battle that there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people who were with Saul and Jonathan, but they were found with Saul and Jonathan, his son, and the outpost of the Philistines went out to the pass of Michmash. What happened there? Anybody? What happened there was Saul looked over there and realized that, hey, I need to get something going on here, because these guys are advancing on me, and I'm running out of soldiers. Everybody's leaving. They're scared, you know, and so being a leader himself, being the king, without the anointment, without being appointed and anointed to make a sacrifice unto the Lord, he makes an abomination to the Lord. Feel me? Now you're gonna have to go read Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Numbers to see what that means, because right off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly where it's at, but I do know that only certain ones can give these offerings up without it being a bitter taste to the Lord, or a bitter smell to the Lord. And so when Samuel, he's the anointed one that is supposed to be able to give these offerings to God. He's the only one. And so Saul stepped out of his role into Samuel's role, and in the course of that made it an abomination to the Lord. So how do we equate that with our lives? First of all, Saul couldn't be patient enough to know that Samuel wouldn't let him down. Samuel never let nobody down before. He wasn't going to start now. God has never let you down before. He's not going to start now. God has never left you before. He's not going to start now. I know everything looks like it's fixing to fall apart. You know, the bills are due. The bankers are calling you every day wanting their car payment and their house payment. And yet, because of COVID, you've lost your job. You've lost your savings just trying to stay afloat and feed your family. I see it. I understand it. And you're thinking, where's God? Has he left me, forsaken me? Don't do something. Don't do something rash, because it seems like that's it. We're done. If we don't get some beans and bacon by tomorrow, it's over. I'm going to go steal a pack of bacon from the store. Well, stealing is a sin. Don't compromise your morals because fear has overtaken you. Fear overtook the men that were under Saul, and then fear overtook Saul. And in that fear, he operated out of his order. And when we do that, we're always going to fail. That's the lesson I want y'all to learn today. This is the importance of reading the scriptures, because God has laid this out for us in his word. Isaiah 55, 10, 11, and 12. I will send out my word from my mouth, and it will not return unto me void. It will do what I sent it to do. What did God send his word to do? Redeem us. Protect us. You either believe that or you don't. The hard part is believing that when, you're about to get thrown out of your house. They've already turned your electric off, your water off. They've done come repossess both your cars, and a year and a half ago, you were living it up. You done had 2 vacations this year and everything was great. And now tomorrow you're wondering if you're even going to have a home for you and your family. I get it. But sometimes material things and the way we live our lifestyles here in America, we're spoiled. And maybe God's breaking us down. Maybe God's breaking you down to bring you into full submission and obedience unto him. I know he had to do that to me 8 years ago. I had plenty of money to do whatever I want. I slung it around like it was nothing, because I made more the next day. It was nothing to me. I didn't really care about the money, but it puffed me up with pride. When I didn't have the money, I cared about the money, and it sucked. I thought, what's going on? All the preachers told me that come to Christ, get the girl. Come to Christ, get the house. Come to Christ, get the better life. This ain't right. What's going on? God placed me under a man that said, hey, when you come to Christ, you're probably going to get crushed. Let me tell you a story about Peter, Paul, the Apostle Paul. Let's go look at David running from Saul when we get to that point. Fleeing from Saul for his life. Big bad David. But that's God's anointed. What's going on? How come David ain't got his best life now? Well, because he's not been lied to by Joel Osteen. That's why. Oh, I lost a couple of viewers. You know what? I can't stand Joel Osteen. And I know this is a little... I'm careful how I say this, but I don't want to be nowhere near the judgment seat when Joel Osteen steps up at it. I want to be at the back of the line. They're done, already went through it. And because that wicked deceiver is deceiving them by the millions and living it up. I mean, living it up. He is. Let's go to Acts chapter 9. Let's get it read for somebody calls, because I forgot to put her on silence. All right, so we're dealing with King Saul in the Old Testament, 1 Samuel. In the New Testament, we go to Acts, or the Brit Hadashah. Brit Hadashah is New Testament. Acts, this is the early church formation, right after Jesus was crucified. We're dealing with King Saul in the Old Testament. We're dealing with Saul in the New Testament. Don't get confused. They're two totally different people. Thousands of years apart, 2,000 years apart, 1,500, something like that. So they're two totally different people, and they operate two totally different ways. So don't get confused on that. If you're new to this, if you've been reading the Bible for a long time, you know. My wife pointed that out to me the other day. I might want to clarify that. So let's get on with this. Acts chapter 9. Sorry, I'm all worked up this morning. But Saul, still breathing threats and murdering against the taught ones, or the disciples of the Master, that's Jesus, having come to the high priest, asked from his letters to the congregations of Damascus, so that if he found any who were of the way. Well, who's he talking to right there? Who's he talking about right there? Any of the way. Well, that's what we would classify as Christians today. Let me clarify why I speak the way I do, and I don't consider myself a Christian. And that usually most people go, oh, well, then what are you, like a Buddhist, or who do you believe in? I believe in Jesus Messiah, come, died for me, rose from the grave, and ascended to the right hand of the Father, and redeemed me from my wickedness. Showed me the way, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. So that's my base foundation on belief in the Most High. So if you read all the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, I think you'll see Christians in here, the name Christians, the title Christian, I think 3 times. And every time it's a derogatory term for someone who believes in Yeshua Messiah, someone who is being mocked for believing in Yeshua Messiah. Oh, that's noble, right? Okay, but here's the deal. The world put that label on them. The world has put the label of Christianity, and the Christian and the ones who claim to love Jesus latched onto that title and went, that sounds snappy. I like it. Let's go with it. Let's add it to our bag of titles. And so Christians became popular, but not till way later. I think 400 AD, maybe 300 AD, is when Christians started becoming really popular. We took what the world labeled us and we ran with it. We loved it. Don't let the world label you in name or in acts.